for lovers of good acting, good writing. Yes, it's true. After weeks of speculation, Hollywood actors will begin their historic strike at midnight, July 14th, after studio talks break down. Now, according to CBC via Associated Press, actors and writers will be both on strike for the first time since 1960. Now, leaders of a Hollywood Actors Union voted Thursday, July 13th, to join screenwriters in the first joint strike in more than 6 decades, going back to 1960, shutting down production across the entertainment industry after talks for a new contract with the studios and streaming services broke down. Duncan Crabtree Ireland, ED of the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Radio and TV Artists, said at a news conference that the union leadership voted for the work stoppage hours after the contract expired, and talks broke off with the Alliance of Motion Picture and TV Producers, representing employers including Disney, Netflix, Amazon, and others. A strike is an instrument of last resort, he said. Union leaders said at a news conference that they voted unanimously for a strike to begin at midnight. Outside Netflix Hollywood offices, picketing screenwriters chanted, "Pay your actors," immediately after strike was announced. It's the first strike for actors from film and TV since 1980. And it's the first time two major Hollywood unions have been on strike at the same time since 1960, when former star Ronald Reagan, future president of the United States, was the Actors Guild president. Of course, the star today was a great speech, a very fiery speech by Fran Drescher, great actors of Nanny, Fame, and Spinal Tap, and all great performances. Employers make Wall Street and greed their priority, and they forget about the essential contributors that make the machine run. SAG-AFTRA President Drescher said, "Shame on them. They are on the wrong side of history." Now, before the talks began June 7th, the 65,000 actors who cast ballots voted overwhelmingly union leaders to send them into a strike, as the Writers Guild of America, WGA, did when their deal expired more than 2 months ago. An extension of the contract and negotiations for nearly 2 weeks only heightened the hostility between the actors and studios. The stakes in the negotiation included both base and residual pay, which actors say has been undercut by inflation and the streaming ecosystem, as well as benefits and the threat of unregulated use of AI. Now, the group representing the studios, the Alliance of Motion Picture and TV Producers, said earlier was disappointed by the failure to reach a deal. This is the union's choice, not ours. In doing so, it has dismissed our offer of historic pay and residual increases, substantially higher caps on pension and health contributions, audition protections, shortened series option periods, a groundbreaking AI proposal that protects actors' digital likenesses, and more, the AMPT said in a statement. It added that instead of continuing to negotiate, SAG-AFTRA has put us on a course that will deepen the financial hardship for thousands who depend on the industry for their livelihoods. Now, Disney chief Bob Iger warned Thursday that an actor strike would have a very damaging effect on the whole industry. This is the worst time in the world to add to this disruption, he said on CNBC. There's a level of expectation that SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild of America have that is just not realistic. Now, it sounds quite normal for them to take the corporate side. Now, SAG-AFTRA represents more than 160,000 screen actors, broadcast journalists, my industry, announcers, hosts, and stunt performers. Broadway actor said in a statement that he stands in solidarity with SAG-AFTRA workers. The indirect jobs from this industry as well might be upwards of 5 million people, because you got, drivers, truck movers, catering, distribution, magazines, whatever. Now, the Actors Guild has previously authorized a strike by nearly 98% margin. With the actors on strike, they will formally join screenwriters on a picket line outside studios and filming locations in a bid to get better terms from studios and streaming giants, especially Netflix and Amazon. Now, the 11,500 members of the Writers Guild have been on strike since early May, slowing the production of film and TV series on both coasts and in other production centers. Issues in negotiations include the unregulated use of AI and the effects on residual pay brought on by the streaming ecosystem that has emerged in recent years. Actors have joined writers on picket lines for weeks in solidarity. Now, just to describe what we're talking about, AI, what they're alleging, SAG is alleging that anybody can go in, do a line reading or do a video performance. They can capture your audio and your video and use it against you and not pay you. And that's a big concern. Now, an actor strike would prevent performers from working on sets or promoting their projects. For example, The premiere of Christopher Nolan's film Oppenheimer in London was moved up an hour so that the cast could walk the red carpet before the SAG's announcement. When the initial deadline approached in late June, more than 1,000 members of the union, including Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence, and Bob Odenkirk, added their names to a letter signaling to leaders their willingness to strike. Now, attending a photo event on Wednesday, Matt Damon said that while everyone was hoping a strike could be averted, many actors need a fair contract to survive. We ought to protect the people who are kind of on the margins, Damon told AP. And $26,000 a year is what you have to make to get your health insurance. And there are a lot of people whose residual payments are what carry them across the threshold. And if those residual payments dry up, so is their health care. And that's absolutely unacceptable. We can't have that. So we got to figure out something that is fair. The looming strike has cast a shadow over the upcoming 75th anniversary of the Emmys. Nominations were announced Wednesday, and the strike was on the mind of many nominees. People are standing up and saying this doesn't really work, and people need to be paid fairly. Oscar winner Jessica Chastain said, who was nominated for her first Emmy Award on Wednesday for playing the great Tammy Wynette in George and Tammy, and she made these comments to the AP. It is very clear that there are certain streamers that have really kind of changed the way we work and the way that we have worked, and the contracts really haven't caught up to the innovation that's happening. Let's put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Netflix makes billions of dollars on streaming, all these streaming channels. Some episodes are in the public domain, but they're shown. But the episodes are not the public domain. I don't think they're getting much money. Like YouTubers, we don't get much money, but they get even worse. I'll give an example. The Waltons are being shown on Vision TV in Canada. How much of that money per episode, where 1 million viewers across Canada are watching at minimum, are going to the Michael Learned and Richard Thomas and the actors that are still alive? There's no indication. Streaming right now, a lot of channels are public domain, and the problem is it was deliberately done that so you didn't have to pay residuals. A lot of shows in the public domain, it used to be 40 years, now it's like 20 or 30. Now, I think what's really going to happen, this is not going to be solved overnight. Does that mean we're going to have pro wrestling go ahead, AEW, WWF? They're not unionized, so they can go ahead. The writers, that's the only thing that's not regulated. So what my wife had mentioned, I think CBS and other channels will be showing already canned repeats. You would see CBS Classic, ABC Classic. Now, will that make more money for the CBC? Because the CBC has already sold Son of a Critch to the CW to be shown on their national network. A lot of the CBC shows might be bought, ITV, BBC. You might see nighttime soaps like from Britain, like EastEnders and Coronation Street, end up filling the blanks. Now, game shows, different things, it's all Screen Guild and whatever. So I really don't know what's going to be happening. Will that stop? Obviously going to stop Saturday Night Live. 80% of the first run programs will shut down within the next few weeks. They've canned so much because the money will be paid under previous contract. But Fran Drescher's speech today, what a beautiful speech. A very, very much like a rabbi telling the congregation, follow the Lord, follow the teachings. She really, and the wrong side of history, that's in back of my mind in the media. I said that on one of my Donald Trump, Bobby Orr supports Donald Trump podcasts, saying that Trump was on the wrong side of history. And a lot of people know that Trump and all his supporters are on the wrong side of history because truth should win out. The right side of history, they're lying to the union. Even I know, as a pro-union guy in New Brunswick, I'm a specialist on what you call hardworking unions, like with their hands, not like, a mental union, but smelter, minor unions, whatever. They're lying. I know that for a fact. If a movie is grossing $600 million worldwide, how much residuals are going back to the actor? The big actors are getting big money. We're talking the nickel and diming of the walk-ons. What if AI comes in? Are walk-ons not going to be allowed? Would you do a stunt performer? Look how it would work with some of the Star Wars clones and stuff. That was all computer generated. Nobody was paid. Star Wars, they got paid. Like whatever the daily rate was. I think one of my friends in BC was in the industry. He said the daily rate for a walk-on was like, at the time, $20 an hour. That was back in the 80s and 90s. I don't know about now. So will this be solved right away? No. It's going to take a few weeks, could be a few months. And the summer, the bummer summer 2023, everybody's hot, everybody's sweating. This doesn't impact sports. So you might see, for example, CBS showed a CFL, which they purchased, showing some games to substitute for weekend stuff. It's going to be loaded with sports. So to sports fans, live sports, you don't need a Screen Actors Guilds. You can show the games without announcers too, by the way, or radio announcers that are non-unionized. Within that, it's going to be interesting. But Fran Drescher hit a new level. I would not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, that within 5 or 10 years she makes a run for the presidency. You made fun of her, but boy, God, she's a smart cat. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the latest on the double strike. 3 strikes, you're out, as we say. If the Undertaker's going on strike, that's a worry. If you like what you're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And solidarity forever. Thanks for listening. Bye.